Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. US threatens to withdraw from Ukraine talks if no progress is made in the coming days. Kremlin says peace talks remain complex amid the progress made. Trump administration moves to impose fees on Chinese-built ships at US ports. China calls it detrimental to all parties. New milestones for Make in India. Electronics manufacturing grows fivefold in the last decade. Electronic exports rise 6 times, crossing $38 billion. India slams Bangladesh over its remarks on violence in Murshidabad, says instead of making unwarranted comments, Bangladesh should focus on protecting the rights of its own minorities. And India's literary treasures, the Bhagavad Gita and Natyashastra, inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of World Register. PM Modi calls it a proud moment for every Indian across the world. Union Minister for Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav, inaugurated VVDN Technologies' largest SMT line and a cutting-edge mechanical innovation park in Manesar, boosting India's electronic manufacturing push. The facilities will enable complex tech production, generate skilled jobs, and strengthen the vision of Make in India and self-reliant India. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya has filed this report.
In a significant boost to India's electronics manufacturing, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav inaugurated VVDN Technologies' largest surface mount technology line and a state-of-the-art mechanical innovation park in Manesar. This SMT line, VVDN's biggest yet, can handle large PCB sizes and mount a staggering 2.5 lakh components per hour, powering high-end products like AI servers, motherboards, and advanced networking gear.
In the last 10 years, one of the major success of Make in India program of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's is the big growth, big jump in electronics manufacturing and exports. We are here in a facility which has a design team as big as 5,000 design engineers. And these design engineers are designing some of the most complex products. They are taking a big leap from the legacy systems and designing products where AI is embedded in the product itself.
Right next to it stands the 1.5 lakh square feet Mechanical Innovation Park, equipped with CNC, EDM, and cutting-edge injection molding machines, creating a seamless path from design to manufacturing.
Honorable Prime Minister has approved electronics component manufacturing scheme in the cabinet very recently. That will further deepen the electronics manufacturing ecosystem. That will further lead to job growth. That will further amplify the advantage that we have.
VVDN is India's only company with deep design-led manufacturing and backward integration, leading innovation in AI, EVs, laptops, and Wi-Fi 7 technology. Minister Vaishnav highlighted that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Make in India vision, electronics manufacturing has grown fivefold in the last decade, now topping 11 lakh crore rupees. Exports have grown 6 times, crossing 3.25 lakh crores.
The active components are getting covered under the semiconductor program, and the passive components will be covered under the electronics component manufacturing scheme. Together, these two will, in a sense, complete the entire bouquet for deepening and widening the electronics manufacturing ecosystem in our country.
India's growing design talent, he said, is our edge, making us a true contender in the global electronics race. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
So, India's VVDN Technologies is at the forefront of innovation in 5G, data centers, wireless technology, AI, ML, vision-based solutions, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and so on. Speaking exclusively to DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya, VVDN co-founder and president Vivek Bansal shared insights on strategic partnerships, the company's focus and its vision for driving growth in electronics manufacturing.
Sir, it's a pleasure to have you in Doordarshan. Tell us, we see a lot of things, end to end, anything to do with electronics that we can think of is here. How did you manage to get everything under one roof?
See, it was not easy, let me tell you. This is almost 18 years of hard work. We started more with design first and then got into manufacturing, right? So I think what worked out really well for us was our strength on the design side. Right, we were able to, engage with the customers early on, right? The day they would conceptualize something, right? They would think of building. We would get engaged with them in designing the product right there. And then 2015, we decided, why don't we start doing manufacturing also?
Tell us how, this, work with government, hand in glove with them, making the whole change happening. India is now being seriously taken by people that, there is a possibility here.
Because of the support of the government policies, we have been able to engage with Indian companies. We are able to do more and more of India local manufacturing. Now there are incentives around local manufacturing, right? So I think the government policies were really wonderful for companies like ourselves, who was really engaged on the electronic manufacturing side, right? All the different PLI schemes across METI and telecom and all different departments, right?
You guys are also going end to end, backward end to end also. Tell us more on that.
See, we are not just doing a final finished product, but we are doing a lot of things backward internally. So what you saw today was, we have full mechanical manufacturing, right? So we do tooling, we do injection molding, we do die casting, we do sheet metal, right? So we have owned the complete mechanical manufacturing process internally.
Moving on, India's Ministry of External Affairs has slammed Bangladesh for the comments made by its officials on the developments in West Bengal. The MEA in a statement said, and I quote, "We reject the remarks made by Bangladesh side with regard to the incidents in West Bengal. This is a barely disguised and disingenuous attempt to draw a parallel with India's concerns over the ongoing persecution of minorities in Bangladesh, where the criminal perpetrators of such acts continue to roam free. Instead of making unwarranted comments and indulging in virtue signaling, Bangladesh would do better to focus on protecting the rights of its own minorities." Unquote. Now, going back to our top story of India's electronics manufacturing going up 5 times and electronics exports hitting 3.25 lakh crore, that is $38 billion in the last 10 years. And to discuss this, we have with us Pankaj Mohindru, Chairman, India Cellular and Electronics Association, ICEA, joining us on the show now. Welcome, sir, to the program. Well, electronics is one of the highest traded and fastest growing industries globally. Where does India stand in electronic manufacturing globally?
We've had a very good run. Mobile phones is the pillar of this great growth. In terms of manufacturing, if you compare with the last decade, we've grown about 5 times. And exports have also grown multifold. Mobile phones is a stellar performer. We have manufacturing of over 5,25,000 crores now, and exports of over 2 lakh crores. This is after you would remember that there was a common perception that we are importing most of our products from China. And today we have a situation where we are exporting about 2 lakh crores plus products. Overall, electronic growth has been very substantial also. We are nearly touching 10 lakh crores of manufacturing now. So it's been a very good run.
So, yes, you talk about mobile manufacturing, but what are the other areas that India is currently focusing in this sector and, or in the immediate future, if we say?
I'm sorry, we've touched over 12 lakh crores in manufacturing. These numbers are adding up so quickly that sometimes you lose track of
Yeah.
them. I'm really sorry about
No,
that
no,
mistake.
no, no problem. Yes,
No,
sir.
after mobile phones, the next sector we are focusing on is IT hardware, which is laptops, desktops, tablets. And after that, consumer electronics. India is now currently producing most of the consumer electronics we are consuming in India. So that's another big development. Hearable wearables, that's what you put in the ear and the small speakers. And after that, some heavy hitter industrial sectors like industrial electronics, auto electronics, medical electronics, and strategic electronics, and lighting. Those are areas in which we have a very good scope of becoming a world leader. And then the foundational industries which are being built, which is semiconductors, display, PCB, cells for digital applications, and so on. And in the middle, then the sub-assemblies and the components. You would know a scheme has just been launched for that. So this is a very comprehensive 360 growth, and the growth is led by global companies which are GVC lead firms, and at the same time we are developing Indian champion companies also in the sector. In every part of the sector, whether it's supply chain, brands, or people in the middle of the supply chain in sub-assemblies, and we are in the deepest technology sector, which is semiconductors. Indian champion companies are coming in, as you would know. Tata Electronics is setting up a fab, and great packing companies are coming up. Tatas are putting up a packing company also. Then Keynes, CG Power, and many such investments.
Okay. Now, what additional opportunities may open up for India in electronics manufacturing because of the massive tariffs that President Trump has imposed on Chinese imports? And what can the government do to help the private sector seize this opportunity?
The India Incorporated, which is the industry and the government together, the attempt is to become the best place to do business and the most competitive place to do business. The geopolitical opportunity is one opportunity, but these opportunities may not last forever. So the foundation of an industry is not created like that. But this is an opportunity where a lot of manufacturing can shift to India in the short term and the medium term also. And I think we are equipped extremely well for that because a foundation for the same has been created in the last 10 years. So especially in the final assembly, sub-assemblies, component space, and even in the cell space where we are putting up big capacities, there is a definite, very big opportunity for India.
And what is...
In just for the US market, just looking at smartphones and electronics, I think we have the opportunity to increase our export to the US from which is currently about $10 billion plus to almost $70 billion. So that is the single biggest opportunity which is there. And that is not only based on the geopolitical factor, but also on the fact that India has proved, competitiveness in supplies to some of the best firms in the world, and also the logistic challenges of supplying to North America. I think we have surmounted that very well.
Okay, if you could talk a little bit more about the potential gains in terms of employment opportunities, exports and foreign exchange, and fulfilling the goal of Make in India in the electronics sector.
Electronics is a very globally connected market where, if you look at the huge setup which China has today with over $1,300 billion of manufacturing, the import in China is also nearly 700 billion. So it's you import and you export. And today we are in that trajectory that we are becoming a major export destination with almost $38 billion of electronic exports, out of which 25 is mobile phone exports. Now, the opportunity of employment is immense because the final assembly segment is very intensive in manufacturing. We've almost added more than 13 lakh jobs in this, just in the PLI sectors in electronics. Down the road, this will be India's largest employer. Our largest employers are textiles, railways, etc. But electronics is competing with that. As you go down the value chain, the quality of employment in terms of the per person employment value add keeps going up. Like in semiconductors, all of the employees are at much higher salaries than in assembling. But the sector, we are very confident that by the time we achieve the Prime Minister's vision target of 500 billion, we will be employing more than 10 million to 12 million people in the sector, and which is across all the sectors of electronics, including sub-assemblies and this thing. The verticals I spoke to you about in the earlier part of the discussion, now as they kick in and we start establishing those sectors, we will have major employment coming up in those sectors also, like laptops, tablets, and other consumer electronics, and so on.
Okay, so big road ahead for India's electronics sector. Thank you very much, Pankaj Mahendraji, for joining us on DD India Newshour. Still to come on the show. Israel intensifies strikes in Gaza after Hamas rejects truce proposal. Deadliest US strike kills 74 in Yemen. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov holds talks with Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi in Moscow, says ready to play a role acceptable to the US in Iranian nuclear talks.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. The IMF will significantly lower its economic growth forecast in the World Economic Outlook report to be released next week. Chief Kristalina Georgieva said that the reboot of the global trading system threatens to cause turbulence in financial markets. In her words, trade tariff uncertainty is costly. However, the IMF still expects the world will avoid a recession. Now, amid all this, the US-China trade war gets bitter with new US port fees levied on Chinese-built and operated ships. A report. The reformatting of the global trading system with new tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump has shaken world markets and companies, causing great global uncertainty. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva believes Trump administration's sharp increases in duties are testing the world economy's resilience.
In trade policy, the goal must be to secure a settlement among the largest players that preserve openness and deliver, very important, deliver a more leveled playing field. To restart a global trend towards lower tariff rates while also reducing non-tariff barriers and distortions. We need a more resilient world economy, not a drift to division.
Georgieva also stressed that rising trade
of
barriers
course,
hit growth
know
up
from
front,
experience
while
that
protectionism erodes
the
productivity
longer
over the long
uncertainty
run,
goes,
especially in
the
smaller
more
economies.
likely it is.
For decades, China has churned out products for the insatiable American consumer base, offering low prices few can compete with, and serving as a key driver in China's meteoric rise to global economic superpower status. But sky high tariffs imposed on China by Donald Trump have triggered a slump in factory orders, with some fearing business may never return back to the pre tariff era. China urged the US to respect multilateral rules, as Washington has slapped levies on all Chinese built and owned vessels docking in the US ports based on net tonnage or goods carried on each voyage.
此前已经就有关问题
I hereby would like to reaffirm that imposing port fees and levying tariffs on cargo handling facilities hurt the US itself as well as others. They will not only push up global maritime shipping costs and disrupt global industrial and supply chains, but also increase inflationary pressures in the US and hurt the interests of American consumers and businesses.
损害。
Even American exhibitors at this year's Canton Fair, that's China Import and Export Fair, voiced concerns over US tariff hikes, stating that they hinder global trade and complicate access to international markets, including China. Smaller American businesses are feeling the pressure even more.
Right now, the new tariffs that they are imposing is affecting everybody worldwide. So that's increasing our costs in manufacturing. Also, that's going to make it harder for export for US companies.
Meanwhile, global leaders are rushing to the White House to negotiate with the US, which includes the recent being Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Even Hungary expects to sign a business deal with the US in 6 months that could help to offset the likely impact of US tariffs. Japan's trade talks, meanwhile, hit a pause following disagreement, but will resume later this month, Japan's lead negotiator informed upon returning to Tokyo on Friday. Amid all this, economists polled by Reuters this week put the odds of a recession in the next year at 45%, up from 25% last month. Tanvi Taneja for DD India. Now, it was a high-stakes week for the Russia-Ukraine conflict as a US-brokered ceasefire expires and Ukraine is set to sign a major minerals deal with Washington next Thursday. Tensions clearly simmer as the US issued a stern ultimatum to walk away from the peace deal after the renewed Paris peace talks. Europe, meanwhile, returns to the negotiation table with new talks set for London next week. DD India's Rabindra Chauhan reports.
As Ukraine signed a memorandum with the United States to develop its strategic mineral resources, efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war are shifting with more global players joining in. Also, the developments come at a time when the 30-day ceasefire brokered by the US ended on Friday. The US, meanwhile, has issued a sharp ultimatum. Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned from Paris that America will walk away from peace talks within days unless real progress is seen. He said in clear words that if there is no progress, US has other priorities to focus on.
But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
High-level talks in Paris on Thursday brought together Marco Rubio, President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff, Ukraine and Europe's top powers to discuss Ukraine's future. French officials called the meeting excellent, noting it marked a renewed European presence at the negotiating table. A new meeting of envoys from the US, France, Britain, Germany and Ukraine is expected to take place next week in London. The US and Russia have held several rounds of talks, often excluding Europe, with meetings in Saudi Arabia and other locations. Kremlin responded to recent developments, saying some progress has been made towards a possible peace settlement, but discussions with the US remain complicated.
Contacts going on are quite complicated because naturally the topic of peace settlement in Ukraine is not an easy one. Russia is committed to resolving this conflict, ensuring its own interest, and is open to dialogue. We continue to do this.
и открыты для диалога. Мы продолжаем это делать.
On the other hand, Ukraine and the United States have taken a key step towards a minerals agreement by signing a memorandum to develop Ukraine's strategic mineral resources. Formal negotiations are set to resume on April 24th, with technical talks expected to conclude by April 26th. On the battlefield, meanwhile, Russia continued its offensive near eastern Ukraine, aiming to capture more territories. A missile strike on Kharkiv killed one and injured several others, damaging homes, a school, and a business center on Friday. Meanwhile, at the UN Security Council on Thursday, Russia accused Ukraine of violating the ceasefire with over 120 attacks on its energy infrastructure. As peaceful negotiations expand to include more parties and hopes for a resolution grow, the US brokered 30-day pause on energy strikes officially ended on Friday. The move has sparked curiosity within the international community about its potential impact on the conflict's trajectory. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
Tensions also continue to mount in the West Asian region, with violent escalations erupting across multiple fronts. From Gaza to Yemen, the crisis shows no signs of easing. The Israeli military has intensified its aerial bombardments and expanded ground operations in the Gaza Strip after Hamas rejected the truce proposal.
Hopes for a ceasefire in Gaza are fading fast. Hamas has rejected Israel's latest proposal, insisting it won't accept any partial ceasefire deal. The group's firm stance leaves little room for diplomatic progress.
The partial agreements used by Netanyahu and his government are a cover for his political agenda based on the continuation of war, genocide and starvation, even if the price is sacrificing all of his own prisoners, and we will not take part in implementing this policy.
In response, Israel intensified its military campaign, launching airstrikes on approximately 40 targets across the Gaza Strip. Israeli forces are operating in key hotspots near Rafah in the south and in northern Gaza, where they have taken control of large swaths east of Gaza City. Meanwhile, Hamas is calling on the international community to intervene, demanding an end to what it calls Israel's total blockade of Gaza, in place since early March. Hamas's chief negotiator Khalil al-Haya said in a statement, "The international community is required to intervene immediately and exert necessary pressure to end the unjust blockade imposed on our people in the Gaza Strip." On another front, US airstrikes on Yemen's Ras Isa fuel port have left at least 74 people dead, marking the deadliest attack since Washington escalated its campaign against Iran-aligned Houthi rebels last month. In a statement, Houthi Health Ministry spokesperson Anis Al-Asbahi said, "The death toll from the American enemy's targeting of Ras Isa facility has risen to 74 martyrs and 171 wounded in non-final count." With no signs of de-escalation, the West Asian crisis is spiraling into a broader regional conflict, posing new challenges to global diplomacy and economic stability. Amish Mahajan's report for DD India.
Now, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Friday that his nation believes a nuclear agreement with the US is possible if Washington avoids unrealistic demands. Araghchi said this in Moscow ahead of a second round of talks in Rome. He said the US showed seriousness during the first round in Oman. US President Trump has warned of potential military action if no deal is reached, while Secretary of State Marco Rubio highlighted that US seeks a peaceful resolution but will not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia is ready to assist in any way acceptable to both Tehran and Washington. You're with us on DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. In a major breakthrough, 22 left-wing extremists surrender in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh. Every April 18th, the world pauses to honor its past on World Heritage Day. And we speak to our expert about the cultural significance of the inclusion of India's literary treasures, the Gita and the Natyashastra, in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register.
Nature gives and we take, and sometimes a little too much. But what happens when this balance tips, and who is the most impacted? Let's take a look at some of the solutions that are trying to help these communities.
We want to encourage people to consume more local products. These were caught in environmentally friendly nets, not farmed. That makes a huge difference.
Project Tangaroa. It's working to build a global framework that can help identify which regs need to be taken care of first and find the funding for cleanup missions.
We use SLR organic fertilizer for our plants. With organic fertilizer, the yield is better and the soil's health improves.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. A quick reminder of the headlines we're tracking at this hour. US threatens to withdraw from Ukraine talks if no progress is made in the coming days. Kremlin says peace talks remain complex amid the progress made. Trump administration moves to impose fees on Chinese-built ships at US ports. China calls it detrimental to all parties. And new milestones for Make in India. Electronics manufacturing grows fivefold in the last decade. Electronic exports rise 6 times, crossing $38 billion in the same period. Friday was a day of cultural recognition for India's literary masterpieces. Ved Vyasa's Bhagavad Gita and Bharat Muni's Natyashastra have been inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. The Gita offers spiritual and philosophical guidance to life and relationships, while the Natyashastra is a seminal text on performing arts. Both these texts highlight India's timeless wisdom and cultural richness, now globally recognized as part of humanity's shared heritage. DD India's Mihir Mekuri has more.
In the vast timeline of human civilization, many have risen and fallen, but only a handful have left an indelible mark on human evolution. Among them stands the Indian civilization, whose profound contributions to philosophy and performing arts echo through time. Now, two of its greatest treasures, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the Natyashastra, have earned a place in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register, a prestigious archive of humanity's most treasured intellectual heritage. Prime Minister Modi hailed the achievement as a proud moment for every Indian across the world. He posted on X, "The inclusion of the Gita and Natyashastra in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register is a global recognition of our timeless wisdom and rich culture. The Gita and Natyashastra have nurtured civilization and consciousness for centuries. Their insights continue to inspire the world. With the addition of these ancient manuscripts, the total number of Indian scriptures on UNESCO's Memory of the World list now stands at 14. Now let's delve into these literary works to understand what makes these two ancient texts global treasures. First, the Bhagavad Gita. Written between 400 BCE and 200 BCE, the Gita is part of the epic Mahabharata. Gita presents a powerful 700-verse dialogue between Lord Krishna and warrior Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna's moral crisis and Krishna's counsel continue to resonate in today's world of emotional burnout. From selfless leadership to performing duty or karma without attachment, the Gita offers timeless tools for clarity in chaos. Gita is studied today in management schools, psychology circles, and military academies worldwide. Next, Bharat Muni's Natyashastra, a Sanskrit treatise composed between 200 BCE and 200 CE, covering theatre, dance, music, and emotions. Spanning 36 chapters and over 6,000 verses, Natyashastra codifies every element of performance. Natyashastra forms the backbone of Indian classical arts, influencing Bharatnatyam, Kathak, and countless folk traditions. Even today, it serves as a guiding light for actors, dancers, playwrights, and performers globally. With UNESCO spotlighting these timeless masterpieces, it's more than a cultural win. It's a resounding tribute to India's eternal wisdom and artistic genius. Mihir Makri for DD India.
And Professor Ramesh C. Gaur, in charge Nodal Center of UNESCO Memory of the World Program at the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, joins us on the show. Namaskar, sir. Both the Gita and the Natyashastra have been included in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. If one were to ask you to briefly explain the basic teachings of the Gita and something about the Natyashastra, what would you say?
It's a great moment to rejoice because as our Prime Minister has tweeted that these are the timeless ancient Indian classics of intellectual wisdom and Indian knowledge system. So in this cycle, we have 2 nominations, 5 manuscripts of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Sharda script, which originally located in Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, which are the oldest, and one of the oldest one is 1376 AD. And second is the Natyashastra, Bharat Muni's Natyashastra, which is a basic treatise on Indian performing arts. So both these timeless intellectual knowledge traditions, epics, granthas have been nominated, and we all feel proud because these 2 monumental work have given knowledge, wisdom, and philosophical thoughts to the entire world, and becoming part of International Register of UNESCO Memory of the World Program. Now, more visibility, more reach to the worldwide research community, particularly to the youngsters, because many youngsters are not very well aware of these novel thoughts lies in these 2 valuable publications. So with these 2 nominations, I'm sure that message of Lord Krishna, Bhagavad Gita will be, which has already been translated in 80 languages, will have more visibility and more reach to the scholarly community. And also Bharat Muni's Natyashastra, which is a basic foundation of dance, music, drama in India. And many of us, like today, talks about the theatre, and thousands of years before, Bharat Muni has laid down foundation of Natya Graha, which is how a theatre should be. So all these valuable knowledge systems now will be more known to the people, and will be valuable additions.
Professor Ramesh, why is it that it is only in the relatively recent past that the world has been rediscovering the value of India's amazing past and heritage?
No, it is not true. These have been recognized. If you talk example of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is being taught in university like Harvard since long. Even we all know Oppenheimer, who was the father of atomic bomb. His statements are well known to the world. And similarly, Bharat Muni's Natyashastra, as compared to Bhagavad Gita, Bharat Muni's Natyashastra did not get much attention to the institution of drama and theatre in the world. But Srimad Bhagavad Gita is well known. So by including in this international register, purpose is to have wider reach, and definitely when we were talking about the world significance of both these documents, we don't have any issue in defining the world significance of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is a lot of international scholars and institutions have worked very thoroughly on Srimad Bhagavad Gita's principles. It may be Karam, Dharam, Yoga, or all kind of philosophical thoughts. But definitely, this nomination will help knowing more about Natyashastra, which is not as much known to the world community of theatre and drama. But more than that, this register recognizes the most valuable documentary heritage of the world. And I think, as a proud Indian, we should nominate something which we are proud of it, and we feel, although we have plenty of such valuable resources, but I think some of these, it may be Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these epics should find a place in a international register, and that's our aim to get it included and getting UNESCO's international registers visibility will definitely help in current world of the conflicts to have more messages to the rest of the world.
Indeed, the teachings of the Gita remain eternally valid, and of course, we all can learn to lead more fulfilled lives through them. But do you think enough is being done to propagate the teachings of the Gita, or does more needs to be done to spread its timeless spiritual message? Also, how can this be done, and what role do we as Indians or as individuals need to play in that aspect?
I'm not a scholar on Bhagavad Gita, but as a person who is engaged in research and preparation of documentation and preparation of nomination dossier, what I feel like, if you talk about research or kind of creating an awareness and giving right kind of perspective on Bhagavad Gita, a lot has already been done in terms of research and academics. But I always believe, this is my personal opinion, that there are a lot of learning from Srimad Bhagavad Gita to our present issues and challenges. Like, I believe that our schools of management sciences can develop number of cases based on the teachings or principles of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which has not been done. So I think how to interpret these teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, our messages of Sri Lord Krishna in present context is something which need to be done. And I think maybe after this nomination and getting this kind of overwhelming response from the entire country regarding these nominations, I'm sure now our researcher will work more on putting our principles of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in our current context and in our various
Indeed.
universities and colleges and schools.
Yes, it's a fitting tribute to India's literary heritage on World Heritage Day. Thank you very much, Professor Ramesh, for your insight and analysis on India's rich heritage and timeless wisdom. Thank you. So every year on April 18th, the world pauses to look back in the past on World Heritage Day. This year, the theme focuses on heritage under threat from disaster and conflicts. The International Day of Monuments and Sites was approved by the 22nd UNESCO General Conference in 1983. We have a report.
Our heritage is not just built of stones, scripts, or ruins. It lives in every carvings on our temples and every brick of our magnificent forts. Celebrating this diversity, World Heritage Day also acts as an apt reminder that these timeless treasures are not only to be admired, but protected and preserved for the future generation. World Heritage Day, also known as the International Day of Monuments and Sites, was approved by the 22nd UNESCO General Conference in 1983. April 18 was chosen as the date for the celebration to honor the day when the Convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage was adopted by UNESCO in 1982. Currently, the World Heritage List includes 1,223 properties across the globe. These include 952 cultural, 231 natural, and 40 mixed properties in 168 countries. India is home to a rich cultural heritage and houses 43 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which includes cultural and natural landmarks. That includes famous sites like the Taj Mahal, Agra Fort, Ajanta and Ellora Caves, Konark Sun Temple, Khajuraho Monuments, Sundarbans National Park, Kaziranga National Park, etc. This year's theme for World Heritage Day is Heritage Under Threat from Disaster and Conflicts, where awareness is being spread on safeguarding the heritage sites from natural or man-made disasters, threats, or conflicts. The goal is clear: encourage individuals and local communities to cherish their cultural heritage. Bureau Report, DD India.
So as the world observes the International Day for Monuments and Sites on Friday, the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, plays a special role to protect, restore and promote its vast cultural and natural heritage. It was founded in 1861 by Alexander Cunningham during the British rule, who also became its first Director General. Attached with India's Ministry of Culture, the organization currently administers more than 3,650 ancient monuments, archaeological sites and remains of national importance of the 43 World Heritage Sites of India listed in UNESCO's World Heritage List, 26 being maintained by the ASI. These initiatives reflect the Indian government's commitment to safeguarding the country's timeless traditions and historical treasures. Apart from the above-mentioned functions, ASI, has also played a key role in retrieving antiquities from foreign countries. In a major breakthrough, 22 Nakshals, including 9 women and 13 men, surrendered to the Sukma police in the Indian central state of Chhattisgarh. The joint operation was conducted by the police and CRPF battalions in the forest areas between Sukma and Jagdalpur on Friday, resulting in the surrender of the group that includes one couple as well. This is a part of Nakshal-free village panchayat, where the panchayat will get an incentive of 1 crore Indian national rupees for developmental activities. The surrendered Nakshalites had an overall bounty of 40.5 lakh rupees. Still to come on DD India Newshour. India's squash players Anahat Singh and Veer Chotrani storm into the semi-finals of the World Championship qualifying event. And India fields 56-member squad for the Asian Under-15 and Under-17 boxing championships in Jordan.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Prime Minister Narendra Modi engaged in a constructive conversation on Friday with American tech billionaire Elon Musk, delving into a range of issues of mutual interest. The discussion revisited topics covered during their meeting in Washington, D.C. earlier this year, underscoring the shared vision for technological advancement. Prime Minister highlighted the immense potential for collaboration between India and the United States in the domains of technology and innovation. Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed India's steadfast commitment in advancing partnerships in these areas. In the wake of recent violence in Malda district of West Bengal, Governor C.V. Ananda Bose visited the affected areas on Friday to meet with the victims and their families. Malda is a border district that shares more than 150 kilometers of its boundary with Bangladesh. In an exclusive interview with Doordarshan, Governor C.V. Ananda Bose emphasized the importance of maintaining law and order, stating that it is the responsibility of the state government to ensure peace and stability.
See, what I see is a section of society
imposing their views on another section of society by force. A kind of theocratic supremacy seems to be behind it. That's what the religious. We want peace. That's what they said. We want justice. They will get justice. They will get peace. I will certainly take up the matter with the authorities in the center and also give instructions to the state government. My report on the matter will go to the appropriate authorities. I'll also give suitable instructions to the state government. Now what is required is not a blame game. Everyone has to come together, work together to establish normalcy in the place. That is my priority.
A living tapestry of Northeast India's floral beauty, culture and biodiversity is the Kaziranga National Orchid and Biodiversity Park. The idea was not only to preserve the diverse species of flora and fauna, but to educate the people about the significance of these orchids. DD India's Momita Biswas reports.
Assam is famous for its tea, petroleum and one-horned rhino. But do you know Assam is also famous for its different types of wild orchids? And currently we are at a place where more than 2,000 varieties of orchids are found. So let's have a check. Orchid Park in Kaziranga, located in the northeastern states of Assam, India, is a fascinating blending of nature's beauty and cultural significance. Kaziranga, already renowned for its rich wildlife and the iconic one-horned rhinoceros, is also a home to a diverse range of flora and fauna. However, what many people didn't know was the region is a treasure trove of orchids.
Here we have been at 2,000 species of orchids, so mostly collection from Northeast, because nowadays people, they don't know so many wild species found in our nature, no? Even Northeast, even India. So these are complete natural wild orchids. Even our state flower also orchids, see this flower. So this is the state flower of Assam, foxtail orchid. So Assam is found is all purple.
As you have explained me earlier, which is the smallest, you can explain
this one. See this plant. Actually, this blooming season is gone. So this once in a bloom, they 3 to 4 times they can bloom in once in a year. So when it's bloomed, this flower size is only 1.2 mm. Actually, Assam found in 400 species of orchids, in Northeast 900, in India 1500, and all over the world 25,000 to 35,000 species of orchid. So out of India, 90% orchid found in Northeast. But orchids are day by day going to extinct, deforestation, loss of habitat, pollution, and lack of awareness. That's why here we're trying to preserve wild orchids.
The idea was not only to preserve the diverse species, but to educate the public about the significance of these orchids, which play a vital role in the ecosystem. For those who visit Kaziranga, a must stop at the Biodiversity Orchid Park is very necessary, because to witness the world of hidden gem of orchid which coexist with the wildlife, with the iconic wildlife of Kaziranga. With camera person Manav, this is Momita Biswas for DD India.
Dr. L. Murugan, Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting in the Government of India, conducted a comprehensive review of the ongoing preparations for the highly anticipated World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit WAVES, set to be held from May 1st to 4th in Mumbai. The visit underscored the government's commitment to ensuring the summit, a significant platform to foster innovation in the global media and entertainment industry, is executed with precision and grandeur. Dr. Murugan toured different spots of the Geo World Centre in Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai, where various sessions of the summit would be held. Thereafter, he convened a high-level meeting with heads of various departments and agencies involved in the summit's organisation. You're watching DD India Newshour. Time now for some sporting action. First, updates from the sport of squash. India's squash players Anahat Singh and Veer Chotrani stormed into the semi-finals of the World Championship qualifying event, keeping their hopes alive for a berth at the upcoming World Championships in Chicago. Young sensation Anahat Singh cruised to a straight games victory over Akari Midorikawa of Japan, winning 11-1, 11-7, 11-5 in her quarterfinal clash. The win places her comfortably in the final. Meanwhile, Veer Chotrani, the second seed in the men's draw, pulled off a gritty comeback to overcome Malaysia's Mohammad Safia Kamal. After dropping the opening game, Chotrani rallied to win 9-11, 11-6, 11-6, 11-7 and seal his semi-final spot. The winners of the tournament will secure direct entry into the World Championships in Chicago, scheduled from May 9th to 17th. India has fielded a 56-member squad for the Asian Under-15 and Under-17 Boxing Championships in Jordan. The standout names in the Under-17 boys squad include Sahil Duhan and Devansh, who clinched silver and bronze at the 2024 Asian Junior Championships. On the girls' side, Samiksha Singh, Anshika and Khushi Chand were among the medal winners at the 2024 Asian School Boys and Girls Boxing Championships. The Under-15 lineup features Ravi Sehag, a bronze medalist from the Asian School Boys Championship in 2024, as well as 2024 Sub-Junior National Girl Boxing Champion Trishna Mohite. The team has travelled to Amman on 17th of April. The preliminaries begin on 19th April following the draw. Holger Rune ended Casper Ruud's title defence at the Barcelona Open Tennis with a 6-4, 6-2 win over the defending champion in the quarterfinals on Friday. World number 13, Rune broke Ruud's twice in each set as he beat the 10th ranked Norwegian for only the second time in 8 attempts so far. The Dane will face Karen Khachanov in the semi-finals after the Russian overcame Spain's Alejandro Davidovich Fokina 6-4, 7-5. And with that, we wrap up this edition of DD India Newshour. Do let us know the thoughts on the news of the day. You can download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.